Hey everybody, this is Blake here. Now I hate using this webcam when it's night because the lighting's all weird, but I can't use my room with the other camera because one of my cats sleeping on the bed and I have to make the bed, and you don't want to try to move that cat. That cat, it scares me. Anyway, I get a lot of questions about what I think about certain topics like anime. Now, anime and me have a very rocky relationship. There are times when I obsess over it, and then other times where I just don't give a damn about it. I think my first real exposure to anime was with the Ronin Warriors. When that came out, God, I don't know how many years ago. I was a kid back then, and I watched it, and I loved it so much. But at the time, I didn't really know what anime was. At least I don't think I knew. And so I never really could tell the difference between Western animation and Japanese animation. But then later on, I watched, maybe even before then, I have such a poor memory of these things, but there was this old show called WMAC Masters, which was like wrestling but with martial arts, and right before that came Dragon Ball. And it seemed like I only watched the first arc on that, but I enjoyed that too. But once again, I didn't really know it was Japanese animation. But I think when I really started to pay attention to it was when I saw Dragon Ball Z the first time. And that was before Funimation took over. This was this older production company. They did the first 3 movies, and they did like halfway through the Frieza arc. And I loved that show at that time. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I had to watch every episode. I completely obsessed over that TV show. And I loved the voices too. And in fact, I always did prefer those voices over the Funimation voices. And soon Funimation picked up and finished the rest of that arc, and I followed it. And that was during Toonami's prime, so I watched that. Gundam Wing, Yu Yu Hakusho, Ronin Warriors eventually did come back on again, and it didn't hold up as well, but I still enjoyed it. But I liked all these shows. I loved Gundam Wing. That was very well written at the time. I don't know if it would hold up very well today. I had all the Dragon Ball toys. I had some of those Gundam models too, but I never got really that big into those. Yu Yu Hakusho I was a big fan of, but then over time I just lost interest in it. Sort of like wrestling. I used to be a big wrestling fan, but I just kind of fell out of it eventually. And it got to a point where when they were airing the Majin Buu franchise or saga for the first time in America, I just wasn't all that interested in it, so I kind of just stopped halfway through, and I still never did finish that show. I ultimately did read the manga later on, and I liked the manga a little bit more, but I won't talk too much about that. My cat's meowing. So after that, the same thing happened with Yu Yu Hakusho. I never finished that show. I thought it got kind of boring after I can't think of his name anymore, Sensui, whatever that arc was. I just couldn't finish it. Maybe I'd enjoy it now, maybe not, I don't know. But it's like, I just lost all interest in anime altogether. And then there was another phase later on, I think it was when Adult Swim began, where I watched Cowboy Bebop and I really liked it. In fact, I thought the animated movie that came from that was one of the best animated movies based off an animated series that I had ever seen at the time. And I finished all of that. I watched the Full Metal Alchemist anime, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed that a lot too. I watched Inuyasha, which I thought it was another one where I wasn't really sure if I was a fan or not. On one hand, I really did like a lot of episodes. I thought it was really funny, but I thought the battles were pretty crudely done. It always seemed like they were the exact same type of battles over and over again, the same kind of animation style. But at the same time, I did like that show's sense of humor. Ironically, I think I hated it the most when it was sticking to the story. But that's kind of weird because with most anime, I do not like filler. At least not that much. I don't hate it as much as some people do. And for some reason, after that, I stopped. But I finished those shows, at least with Inuyasha. I think it stopped halfway through the actual anime. But then I got into Naruto and Bleach after another period where I didn't really care. And Naruto I thought was really, really cool, but once once the manga went past the first half hour, they eventually just started calling it the time after the time skip. I can't remember what the actual phrase they used, but it just wasn't good anymore to me. I thought it was really poorly paced. I thought the characters were all just sort of flat. The new ones, anyway, they weren't really using the old ones that I thought were interesting anymore. And it's weird because I used to really love that show, even more so, I think, than Dragon Ball Z. And it just, I don't know, I just stopped watching. I haven't even seen the anime for a long, long time. And with Bleach, it's been more awkward because I really liked the Bleach anime, but then I just got tired of it after a while. But then at the same time, whenever I do watch it again, I think the filler arcs are surprisingly well done for that type of show. Whereas with Naruto, it's like really tedious. With Bleach, they really put a lot of effort into it, even though it's a little redundant. I did enjoy those filler arcs, at least the ones I saw, which were the Bound arc and the Zanpakuto arc. But I do read the manga for Naruto and Bleach, and ironically, I think the Bleach manga has become worse than the anime in some ways, because it seems like the whole Aizen arc was really, really overlong, and then the arc that followed was just, and that really felt like a filler arc. Like, you've seen all of this kind of stuff before, and it just seemed really pointless, and I did not enjoy that arc at all. And so I kind of phased out with the Bleach manga, but with Naruto, I occasionally still read it. And eventually I learned about the Full Metal Alchemist manga, and I read that, and I thought that was probably the best manga I've ever read. And I don't read a whole lot of manga, so... But then they made the anime based on that, and I thought the anime was actually kind of overrated. It was just, I don't know, I just didn't care for how it was paced as much, and I didn't like the things they kept out that were in the manga, but at the same time, it is still a really well done show, and I do enjoy it, but I don't like it any more than the first anime, which even though I didn't really like the plot as much in that one, I liked how it played out a lot more. There were a lot more surprises. I thought the villains were a lot better. I always felt that the villains in the manga and the new anime, I had difficulty taking a lot of the homunculus seriously, and I thought the main villain was kind of a whiny bitch at the end. But they're both still really good. And let's see, is there any other? Because right now I'm kind of in a dead spot again where I don't really care. I started watching that Legend of Korra because I did like the first Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that was a funny show, but it's not really anime. And but Legend of Korra, I don't like how it's paced either. I think they're kind of rushing through it. And I've always liked the humor the most with these types of shows, and I just don't think Legend of Korra is that funny. But otherwise, with anime, like I said, it has to have a story that interests me, characters that interest me. And, you know, if they do, I will watch it, but it always seems like eventually I just stop caring. I get bored of it. I have such short attention span. That's why I prefer movies over TV shows, because TV shows, they rarely keep me watching all the way through the end. I did watch Lost, so that was one thing, but that was like the only TV show, that live-action TV show I think I stayed through. But anime, no real difference. It's a phase for me. I sometimes really like it, and I sometimes hate it. But with animated movies, are there any I like? I've seen quite a few, but it seems like I could never remember them. Akira, I thought that was pretty good when I saw it, but nothing spectacular. I liked Vampire Hunter D and the sequel even more so, but once again, I don't remember them very well. I think Vampire Hunter D, the second one, was one of my first written reviews, so it's kind of an old-fashioned review, but which is another word for saying it sucks. But like I said, I don't remember too much about it. Blood the Last Vampire I saw, and that was actually pretty badass, I do remember, but the live-action movie based on that wasn't very good. And I couldn't get into the series. The series was just so much of a soap opera, and too teary for me. But otherwise, I remember enjoying all of the Dragon Ball Z movies for what they were. I felt that they started going downhill after the third one, but it seemed like I never full-on disliked any of them. I loved one of the Yu Yu Hakusho movies. I think it was the second one, even though it is completely serious compared to the TV show. I really liked how the battles worked, and the music was really awesome. I remember I hated the Naruto movies, the few I saw anyway. I couldn't get into the Bleach movies. But God, I can't. I saw some movie called Wicked City, and that was a real messed up movie. And once again, I remember liking it, but I just don't remember it as well. The parts I do remember are some of the more shameful parts. And, you know, even though I did a written review of Golgo 13, The Professional, and I gave it a marginally positive review, I now hate that movie. It's like, I just hate how that character was handled. I think is the most boring protagonist in the history of anime protagonists, and that says a lot. I hated that movie, even though at the time I didn't think I did. Now I really do. So that's it. I just felt like I was going to talk about some anime that I did watch. For the most part, like, I wouldn't call myself a big anime fan, but you know, every once in a while I'll find a show that I do like and I'll watch it. And if it's good enough, I'll watch it to the end, or if it's at least during my phase where I do like anime, I will watch it to the end, but otherwise I'll probably lose interest eventually. So that's it. I gotta go finish a written review of Death Watch, which is a war horror film. Awesome combination. That was a pretty good movie too. So I'll see you guys later.